Okay, my peeps. Let's just say this. Let's pretend you're walking in a networking event and you felt your whole body tense up. You spent the next 45 minutes pretending to check your phone near the snack table. Same. I've done that this week. It turns out that your nervous system has been running your networking game and your work game this whole time and has not been doing a great job. Hey peeps, welcome back to Workday Playdate with Improve It. I am Erin, and this is the show where we talk about work leadership and culture in ways that actually help. I'm going to say it because I say it every time. If you love this show, if it gives you a little giggle, all right, we would love it if you would leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. Like it would. When you do that, a legit team of humans does a happy dance. It helps us bring more amazing guests on the show. Please do it. I'm like a broken record over here, but I appreciate each and every one, and it really does help us get more people and views and peeps inside of the Playdate. So know that. And then number 2, I got a fun fact for you. We just became the #1 podcast for emotional intelligence by Million Podcasts. The number one. So thank you for listening, for rating, for being here all of these years. It's so cool. It's been such an amazing journey, and I'm so grateful for my team who helps make this all happen. So this month on the show and at Improve It, we're talking about networking. And we actually have networking workshops, which is why we want to talk about networking. So, not only do we do these networking workshops to teach you how to network, but we realize it's a challenge for a lot of you. And I know a lot of you hear that word, it makes you go, oh, and groan out loud. But here's the thing. Networking is just improv with business cards. So I want you to think about it. You walk into a room full of people you don't know. You have no script, and you have to yes and your way through a conversation while your brain is screaming, what do I do with my hands? That's literally an improv scene, and you have been training for this. But this is why most people hate it. They hate it not because networking is hard. It's because your nervous system thinks networking is a threat. And when your nervous system is in charge, you are not connecting. You are surviving. And surviving is not a great networking strategy. So today on the show, we are going to talk to this incredible guest, Lani Gonzales, who's going to help us regulate our nervous system and have this nervous system be a supporter for us. So we'll talk about that in just a moment. But I want to let you know that if you need some support with networking, we have a freebie for you. It's called Networking Without Feeling Weird. It's a 2-part guide. It's going to help you feel confident, clear, and grounded in any networking room. So grab it. And now I'm going to have you introduce our guest. Have me. I'm going to introduce our guest. The link to the freebie is in the show notes, called Networking Without Feeling Weird. So today's guest is somebody who understands exactly why you're clenching your jaw at happy hours, and she knows how to fix it. Lani Gonzales is a clinical hypnotherapist, former litigation attorney, speaker, and author who helps high-achieving women break free from burnout, self-sabotage, and the subconscious patterns that keep them stuck. Now, we're going to talk about this, but she left a successful legal career, literally a partner in the firm in her 20s, because apparently being a litigation attorney was not stressful enough. She then built a practice centered on rewiring the nervous system, transforming limiting beliefs, and helping people create lives that actually feel good and not just look good on paper. So she blends neuroscience, subconscious work, and real-world experience to help ambitious women reconnect with clarity, intuition, and sustainable success. So basically, she is the person who can explain why your body goes into fight or flight mode the second someone says, let's go around the room and introduce ourselves. And she can help you make it stop. Let's get to today's Playdate with Lani Gonzales. Okay, peeps, I'm excited to see where this goes. Lani, welcome to Workday Playdate.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Oh my God, me too. I feel like I feel like you're like an onion. Like there's a lot of layers that we could peel today. So I'm excited. I'm excited to peel and see where we go. I always start the show by setting an intention. So is there one word that comes to mind for you that you want to give, you want to receive in our conversation today? What comes up for you?
Ooh, the first word that comes to mind is movement. And when I think of movement is moving conversations, moving ideas, moving people a little bit forward. So I love the intention of movement.
I love that intention. That I've never heard that intention, to be honest, and it makes me happy. I love a friend of mine. She's another entrepreneur. She's a coach. She has something called Move to Millions. It reminds me of that. She's all about like there is a movement. You have to move. You have to move. So I freaking love it. And it's a play date. So we like movement around here. You know that. I love it. Okay. So, we love some improv comedy, and we always start a scene in improv with starting with a location. So, where are we having this play date to be today? If we could be anywhere in the world, where would we be?
Ooh, let's go with circus.
Oh, what are we doing in the circus? Lady, I told you you're an onion. This is fun. Okay. What are we doing in the circus?
I am a big fan. Let's go with the merry-go-round, going up
Oh,
and down on the merry-go-round.
up and down on the merry-go-round, the circus merry-go-round. I love it. Okay. Maybe I might bring in some clowns. Okay. Because this is Workday Playdate. We do comedy. So I'm going to bring in some clowns on the merry-go-round. And I love this. Do we have any snacks on the playground?
Let's do some cotton candy.
Okay. I love that a lot. Cotton candy is like such a delightful treat. And okay, we're at the circus having cotton candy. We're on the merry-go-round. I want to talk too because I feel like you are this beautiful wheel, if we're looking at the merry-go-round of embodiment. And you really talk about this feeling. You said what you achieved on paper left you feeling empty. And I want to talk about this because we have a lot of high achievers out here collecting gold stars. Our peeps community, we are the high achievers, okay? And we're collecting all the stars, but we still feel like we're missing something. Talk to me about that. So, what what did you achieve on paper that left you still feeling empty? And what did that teach you about success in general?
So it's funny that I chose merry-go-round because I feel like I've just recently gone full circle to fully understand what this journey is. So
Yeah.
I became an attorney very, very young. So I was the ultimate overachiever. I started going to community college when I was in high school. And I started practicing law when I was 23 years old.
That is crazy, by the way. That is like literally like, is that been done before? It's like the Doogie Howser of lawyer.
It's a little bit crazy, and I probably wouldn't recommend it to
Yeah.
anybody. Because while you gain the knowledge, the level of worldly experience isn't there for someone like myself. So
Mhm.
I think that maybe I fast forwarded, but man, did I earn all those gold stars.
You
And I
did.
became a law firm partner shortly after, and I did incredible things with my work. And people have asked me before, like, what was it that made you shift away from being a partner at a law firm? Was it burnout? Was it stress? What was it really? And when really sat and reflected, it wasn't any of those things. It was just this feeling like I wasn't really fulfilled.
Yeah.
And someone told me this once, and they said, until you create a body of work that honors all of who you are, you'll never fully be satisfied. And
Mm.
after practicing law, I became a clinical hypnotherapist, and I was able to feed that side of myself that was the nurturer, the intuitive part of myself. And while that was incredibly fulfilling to be able to give and serve in a more direct and deeper way, I was like, wait a minute. But now I'm not feeding that part of me that was a lawyer for 15 years that got me to this point, and who was brilliant and intelligent and tactful and strategic. Now she's sitting in a corner. And it's about
Mm.
creating a body of work that can encompass and honor all of who I am. And when we talk about gold stars, one of the other transitions, not just fulfilling all of who I am, but what is the driver? And I have noticed because I work with many high achieving women who are entrepreneurs and leaders, there's a certain type of fuel that gets them to where they are and can only get them to where they are. And let's be really honest, a lot of high achieving people, there's a little bit of neurosis going on and there's a lot of lack of self worth there. And
Oh,
from a
yep.
lot of high
Yep.
achieving people that I see with burnout, what happens is they're coming from a place of a lack of worthiness or not enough. And I'll show them, I'll prove them. I'll give you a clue. If you can't rest without guilt, you're probably operating on the fuel that I'm referring to. So that level of, you know, whether it's shame, unworthiness, whatever is driving you, it'll get you really far, but it'll only take you so far. If you want to get to your next level of success, it needs to operate on a different, more sustainable type of fuel. And for my personal journey, I'll be very transparent. I didn't like who I was. So I had all the letters behind my name. I looked good on paper because I felt empty inside. So part of it was that. Then it was okay, the money, because truthfully, holy moly, as a lawyer, you have a bunch of student loans, and it feels good because in our society, money is associated with status and stability,
Yep.
safety, and security. But that is a little bit empty.
Yep.
And for myself, I started to become tired of the taste of these temporary things, and I shifted. And I am a public speaker. And I would go on stages and I realized, wait a minute, am I doing this for applause and validation?
Mhm.
Even
Mhm.
though I'm no longer operating from a place of doing it simply for profit, there's still that fuel that I don't want to run on. So then I said, okay, if I'm not doing it for money, and if I'm not doing it for validation, then what comes next? What is this fuel that is more sustainable? And I decided to walk 500 miles across France and Spain. And it's called
What?
it's called the Camino de Santiago, and it is a pilgrimage we've done for over 1,000 years. And it's really a time to reflect, gain some
Yes.
healing and clarity.
Okay,
And one of
wait.
the things,
Yeah.
yes,
Can I ask you a question about this?
sure.
Okay. Where was this in the notes, Lanny? Okay, because I'm like, this is amazing, first and foremost. So wait a minute. So you decided, can I make sure the peeps are with us? You
Yes.
decided that you had everything you wanted on paper, but you weren't fulfilled. And so in order to understand what fuels you, you took this track. Is that right? Did I get it right?
Well, it has always been on my bucket list. I don't think
Yeah.
I had an intention that was that clear. Truthfully, when you're walking 500 miles, the issue wasn't necessarily the miles, it was that's a long time to be alone with your thoughts. So when I was much younger, I was like, I would never do such a thing because I would be terrified to be alone with my thoughts for so long. But I had reached a place in my own personal journey where I'm like, let's hear all those thoughts.
Yes.
Let's see what shows up.
Okay. Okay. I want you to jump back into the story, but I have more questions about this. Okay. Okay. So this was after after your 15 years in law. Then is this before you became a into hypnosis, or is it
It
like
was after actually, because
after?
I thought that switching careers would make me more fulfilled, and I
Got it.
realized that wasn't the answer. It's not about the venue that you're in. So let's be honest. There are women, for example, who are high achievers, who are in corporate America, and then they retire. That doesn't make them calmer. A lot of women come to me retired and are incredibly wired still.
Yep.
So changing your venue does not change what is happening internally. And I know that firsthand because I changed from attorney to hypnotherapist. That's a
Yes.
really big jump, but I'm still the common denominator. My nervous system, my mindset, my values are the common denominator, and it goes everywhere with you. So you really
Yes.
have to change that internally.
Okay. Okay. So okay, now I just want to make sure I am trekking the trek with you. Okay. So you're on this 500-mile journey. Are you alone? Because you said you're alone with your thoughts, but are there other people walking?
Yes and no. So I did this trip by myself, but thousands of people also walk the pilgrimage. So you meet people along the way. So
Ah.
even though it was a solo journey, there are tons of people doing it. And some days I would just walk by myself and reflect. Other days I would connect with other pilgrims who were also doing a little bit of soul searching.
Did you have your phone, music, things like that, or was it mostly silent? Purely curious.
Sometimes. So sometimes there's a little bit of music. Sometimes it's just like listening to yourself and the nature around you. So it really varies by days. So,
Okay, so let me ask you this. How long is 500 miles? Like, how many days did that take you?
ooh, it varies per person, but for myself, I finished that in 30 days.
What? So what is
Yeah.
I can't do math. That's like 60. That's
No, so
no.
some days it varied and it's really about listening to your body. There were some days where I only did 5 miles. There's some days when I did over 25. So,
That's like a walking a marathon.
yeah.
Wow. And then you just kind of slept along the way. Did you camp or were there like hotels and things that you stopped at?
Yeah, so it's called an albergue, and albergues are basically budget-friendly accommodations for pilgrims. So they started this, I want to say in the year 812. So this has been going on for a very long time. So all of these small medieval villages that you stop past, they are basically centered about trying to help pilgrims make their way across Spain. So
Wow. Wow.
they're pretty stocked and they're pretty prepared for people like me going through.
This is amazing. Okay. So what came out of the journey? I stopped you before you got there because I had some questions. I had to break that down, especially for the
Yeah.
peeps. So when you came out of this 30-day experience, what did you find?
Ooh, there were so many different things that I found. Uh, I will say thing number one, the very first realization was that my life that I created was incredibly heavy. And in my regular life back at home, I struggled to train for my pilgrimage because I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't find time to walk my dogs. How am I going to walk 500 miles? But then when I actually made it onto the pilgrimage, I traveled so much further and so much easier than I thought. And I realized it was this. While I'm doing those 500 miles, you wake up, you walk, you appreciate the beautiful things around you, you
Hmm.
find food, you find a place to stay, and then you are grateful and proud of yourself at the end of the day and you rinse and repeat. You're not worrying about tomorrow, you're not worrying about the past, you're so present. And I realized the weight of all of the worries and anxieties that I was carrying and how light I could feel if that wasn't something I had to carry anymore, which we don't have to carry. And when you're not carrying that emotional and mental burden, you can take yourself so much further than you really think.
Oh my God. Yes. Okay. Okay. Wait. I'm so impressed by you.
Oh,
So,
thank you.
okay. So then you go back home and what shifts did you make from that new mindset? Like what came into play?
I think the biggest thing, which is a separate lesson that I've learned, is what fuel am I actually going to operate on? And if it's not money and if it's not validation, then what on earth is it? And as I was walking through the Camino and seeing beautiful places that people had created, art, churches, sculptures, and even making my way to Paris and seeing a lot of beautiful things there, I realized that I wanted to create something achingly beautiful. And
Hmm.
I want something that exists even when I don't. And when I say achingly beautiful, it's witnessing something. And simply by witnessing it, it opens something in you that you didn't know was closed. And as I was walking on the Camino, I heard this other message that I am an achingly beautiful thing. And I realized that as an entrepreneur, everything that I create is an extension of myself. So I don't have to effort to create this achingly beautiful thing. I embodied it, I exist, and everything that flows through me just naturally becomes an extension of that thing that I have created. And that new fuel that I have is joy, is
Oh,
play.
yeah.
And
Yes.
there is a concept. It's infinite versus finite games. And in a finite game, we're very familiar with. Think of a sports game. There are rules, there are players, and there is an end result. The goal is to win the game. And once the game is won, the game ends. That's a finite game. An infinite game doesn't have those rules and there is no end. So then, how do we know what the purpose of it is? An infinite game, the purpose isn't to win. The purpose is to continue play for as long as possible because you enjoy the game. And when we talk about applying that to business, to entrepreneurship, can we think of it as an infinite game? I think this concept has been applied by a lot of people and business professionals recently, but the more we can treat everything in life like an infinite game, the easier, more joyful, and lighter it feels to move through our journey. So that's the fuel that I'm running on.
Oh,
How can I make this feel like play? One of the biggest rules, though, of an infinite game that we have to remember is you can only participate in an infinite game voluntarily.
mm,
Nobody forces you to do it. So when we talk about business and entrepreneurship, you are here because you want to be here.
mm,
I see a lot of these entrepreneurial chats with new entrepreneurs because that's kind of my area of expertise is helping women become entrepreneurs. And I hear this question, what's the thing that I can do that'll easily help me make money? You're already on the wrong fuel.
yep, yep.
It's unsustainable. To have that joy, that pleasure, that
Oh,
passion behind it helps us play. And if you're only in, I understand, I'll give you an example. There are some women that say, hey, man, I'm raising a child, I'm a new mom, and my resources and time are limited, but I want to make money. They want to feel like they have purpose, even though they are inside their home taking care of a child. So then that prompts the question of how do I easily make money from home with little effort? If you were to approach me with that question, my response would be maybe now is not the time and place to do that. And perhaps we really need to prioritize. And this is a very sick society that says if you're not producing, you're somehow not of value. So as a mother, if you are at home taking care of your child and you don't have that fuel to really run a business and be with your family and raise your family respectfully, I think that we can make those choices when the time is right, then we can move forward.
yep. I agreed with you.
Caveat. You can pursue a passion project and be a mother, but the mindset cannot be what's the easiest way to make money.
Yeah.
It
Yep.
won't be sustainable.
Okay. I'm literally throwing away my notes. So, cause I'm like, we're here. We're here. Okay. So many things I want to talk through from just that because obviously, we hate play around here. We don't do it. It's like the opposite of us, and just kidding. It is a play date.
Yeah.
And improv fuels it. The fuel of improv is play and joy. And you use the word move. I don't even know if you realized you said the word move in there, your intention. So it was so beautifully said. And I told you at the beginning, I was like, oh my God, you're so beautiful, achingly beautiful. So, like, there were so many moments where you were talking, I was just nodding my head, saying, oh my God, this is so in alignment with who we are and what Workday Playdate is all about, what Improve It, our company, is all about. And I think a lot of people, especially in corporate America, let me talk to my corporate peeps out there, okay? They get in it because they think, and here's the difference in entrepreneurship and corporate. Entrepreneurs, sometimes people think we have more flexibility. And the reality is we do create our own time, but we're always going to have a boss, and that boss will always be our clients. And so we have to be able to have boundaries, right? What I see a lot with our corporate peeps is that they feel tied to their jobs, especially if they have global companies that are on 24/7, that they don't feel this achingly beautiful love for because the joy is gone. The play is gone. It's so transactional. And I think what happens then is people just get caught in this hamster wheel. Their handcuffs are golden and chained to these jobs
Yeah.
where they forget the purpose of this whole lifetime, right? And the purpose of this whole, like you said, body of work is to play and to have joy. So I want to dive deep on that. What do you do to bring more joy into your life as an entrepreneur who I know you work with women, mostly new entrepreneurial women? What do you do for you? Like, what are some of your daily practices?
Yeah. For me, I will answer what I do for me, but I want to touch on what you said about the people who are stuck in corporate America. If you are in a corporate system or structure where you feel like you have very little control over what happens, you can still find a way to have play. Like I said before, you can put yourself in a different environment, but you're still the same person, right? So it's not so much where you are, it's how you show up in that place. And that is
Mhm.
all completely within your control. And that is all an internal experience, right? So when you look at myself, if you look at me externally, I look like I have the hustle of somebody who is burning the fuel of money or validation. It's that internal experience that we have. And that's the thing that is the difference, right? So even if you're in corporate America, we can still apply a different mindset. We can still regulate our nervous system differently and show up in a different way that still sponsors play. And when I say play, I'll give you an example. I would say if you're in school, let's say you're in elementary school and you're grade school, there's play. And if you were to think, what's the opposite of play in a school setting? A test. And here's what I've noticed with women in corporate America and women who are entrepreneurs. They make everything a test.
Mm,
How do I perform? It's a
yeah.
test about my productivity. And the results of that test are, am I valuable? Am I worthy? Am I safe because of the money? Even entrepreneurship, when I see a lot of women who are afraid to put themselves out there and be visible, oh, if I post something and no one likes it, it's a test about whether you're likable. It's a test about whether your ideas are valid. Everything's a test. If we back up and instead of looking at as a test and instead look at it as play, one of the drivers of play is curiosity. We're not
Oh,
doing it because we are trying to achieve a goal. I'm curious. So let's pretend that you are an entrepreneur female and you're trying to put something out there on social media to promote whatever it is you do. It's not a test about whether you have a good idea or a test about your worth or the worth of your services. It's a play and exploration about the right messaging, the way we can present ourselves, the ways that we can get more clients. Look at it as play. I'm curious how this turns out, as opposed to this means something about who I am if the outcome turns out a certain way. So simply by making that shift, we can transition into play whether you're in a corporate structure or not. So less test, more play.
less test, more play. That's the new title of this show. Hold on. Writing it down, Lonnie. Less test, more play. Because I got to tell you something. I could resonate with that so much. And I think, listen, I wrote a book, first book called I See You. Okay. It was really about seeing yourself. Second book is about recovering people pleasing. Just gonna spoiler alert, it's happening. Uh we have an addiction to approval. And I really think that we have and I see it not only well, I saw it in myself as an entrepreneur. And I'll say this too, just on the social media front. I did not put myself in anything. Nope, no forefront pictures, nothing like me on the website. It was all my team. And then 2020, I decided to create a personal brand, as did the rest of the world, because there was no way to network unless you got online.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of struggle and stress and turmoil internally that I went through as a entrepreneur putting herself out there back in, because the business started in 2014. Lonnie, it was bad. And the comparisonitis was so real.
Yeah.
And there was there was some play. I had fun with it a little bit, but there was a lot of second guessing and worthiness issues. Like, I'm just going to say it. And I have friends who are starting new businesses and putting themselves out there. And they've asked, like, does it get easier? And I'm like, no, you just get used to it. You just get used to it and you have to reframe it. And
Yes.
I think that to me is what you're getting at. And I think a lot of people in corporate America, like, let's say you're not an entrepreneur posting on social media, your test might be a presentation in front of stakeholders. Your test might be a presentation to your C-suite, or it might be showing up with a big project in front of your peers. We all seek that validation, and it is an addiction, especially with metrics like social media to like and poke and prod and comment. We feel that we those same likes apply in internal settings in corporate America too. It's just a different way of liking it, and it's a different way of showing up. So how, with that curiosity, how do we get curious? What are some ways to do that? Because I'm here for that.
Yeah, I will say we're going to step back just a little bit because you mentioned that people pleasing is an addiction. And for myself and my perspective, I take a more compassionate approach and I don't refer to it as an addiction. It is simply part of being human. So think of it this way. Let's say that you watch Animal Planet and you see all these animals being born. When this baby giraffe pops out of its mom, it stands and within minutes it runs. It can feed itself. It can flee. A lot of animals are like that. Humans are not. We are one of the few that when we are born, we can't feed ourselves. We can't protect ourselves. In fact, we can't even fully see. So as a human, we necessarily rely on the acceptance of tribe for survival.
Yeah.
We are ingrained, and it is within our program to seek acceptance because acceptance meant you stayed alive. Rejection meant that you were going to be eaten by something else. So we are very attuned to the reactions of other people, whether they approve, whether they disapprove, what they like, what they don't like, so that we can be accepted by tribe. That is a survival instinct of
Sure.
all
Yeah.
human beings. So I don't look at it as a form of addiction. That is simply part of being human. However, what starts to happen though is we rely very heavily on that acceptance instead of sitting with ourselves and saying, do I accept me? Do I like me? It's okay to want and it's okay to need acceptance from tribe because we are social creatures. We thrive in community, but we also have to be able to thrive independently within our own experience and validate our own experience. So how do we step away from that in terms of how we show up at work? I call them my monkey brain tricks. And these are little things that you can do and it's small things. So, for example, we respond to body language really well because the majority of communication is nonverbal. The distance between your ear and your shoulder determines how confident people think you are, right? So, if I'm like this, the closer I am to fetal position.
Okay. Okay. Wait. Let me just
Here.
pause you because they're not on video. Some peeps can't see you. So tell them what you're
Okay.
doing.
I'll tell you what I'm doing. I am crouching my ears closer to my head, and I'm just going to describe it to you. The closer you are to a fetal position, the more people perceive that you are not confident because you are basically in a protective state.
You're
So
a
the more
pretzel.
upright you
Yep.
are, exactly, the more distance you have between your shoulders and your ears, people naturally perceive you as confident. It's a simple monkey brain trick. And then here's another thing. Your body is signaling to your brain. Over 80% of the nerve endings in your body are afferent, meaning your body sends more signals to your brain than your brain does to your body. So if you're feeling a little people pleasy and insecure, look at your posture. how far away are your ears from your shoulders, and just shrug them down. And your body is signaling to your mind that you are safe. Safety also so
Yes.
seems accepted. So
Nobody could see me right now, but I'm literally dropping my shoulders to my knees. I'm trying so hard. Do I look confident, Lonnie?
you look
I
confident.
look
I love it.
confident. It hurts, but I'm just because I will tell you, there's some pictures I look back at my in my earlier years, and I look like I have shoulder earrings, like they're here, and I can tell. I know I was going through what I was going through internally, and you can see it. Okay, I love this hack. What else?
Mm.
What else can we
So
do?
there are physical things you can do. Your breath signals also safety. When we actually take a sigh of relief, this also is with the shoulders, like a big breath in and a like sighing it out using your shoulders. Your body only does that when it's safe, when you're not being chased by a bear. So we're again signaling to our mind that we are safe. And when those thoughts show up, we can process them better because we're regulating our nervous system. So then when we have those people pleasing thoughts, we slow down our body, which slows down our thoughts, activates our prefrontal cortex, which is the part of our brain responsible for emotional regulation and higher level thinking. And then when those thoughts come up, entertain them. Let's say
Mm,
there is a part that says, I don't want to post on social media, or I don't want to give that presentation. Imagine it looked like something or someone. What would you call it? What would it say? What's it afraid of? What's the worst possible thing that could happen?
yeah.
Talk to that part. We don't reject it. We don't engage in let's just shove affirmations at it. It's still there. We can't just pretend it doesn't exist. See it for what it is, honor what it has to say, and talk to it and see what it
I
has
love
to
it.
say. And
Like
for the
internal
folks,
family systems, right? Like
it is.
yes, I use that IFS a lot in my own I'm not a therapist. In my own therapy with my therapist.
Yeah.
So, okay. And then the third, you had a third.
Oh, I have a third. I have so many different things, but a lot of it is regulating our nervous system and our set point. So
Yeah.
you have a certain level or a certain set point for the level of success that you are able to tolerate. Your body and your mind are not geared towards growth and expansion. Your biological prerogative is safety and security so that you survive, you procreate, and your DNA carries on. So you are not actually primed. No one is naturally primed for growth and expansion. And the people that you see who are jumping over those hurdles, who are going beyond their limits, they have primed their nervous system to be able to tolerate uncertainty and fear. Because,
Mm,
yeah, if you post on social media, you don't know the outcome. If you present at a corporate meeting, you don't know if people are going to approve or accept. It's going to trigger that part of our nervous system in our brain that says, are we safe? Are we okay? But the more that we can regulate and say, this is something that we are okay with, we survive. And then once we continue putting ourselves in those situations and we train our nervous system not to react, we are actually raising our set point for success. The people who are more successful are not the smartest, they're not the most talented, they are the people who are the most regulated towards success.
amen. Can I get an amen from the choir? Oh my God. Lonnie, that's what's up. That is it. I am truly, when you were saying all these things, first of all, I'm really focused on my posture. Um, Second, it really makes a lot of sense because we are wired for safety, for security, to procreate. Like those things are true, but the people who you see as successful or the people who have gotten outside of the box, I think really do find these hacks and use them and apply them. And they're not hacks, they become practices and they become part of life, which you've developed and you've created and you've brought into existence. And I want to thank you for these three beautiful takeaways for our peeps because they're things that we can implement, we can do right away. They're tangible. They're easy. And I think that's what we're always looking for on this show. And I want to encourage peeps to get curious with play, like you said. I want to ask, is there anything left that we didn't talk about that you want to share with the peeps that would be super helpful?
Oh my gosh, there's so much that I could
Yeah.
share. But one of the things that has come up recently for the clients that I work with is don't put the cart before the horse. And when I say that, a lot of women have big dreams, or maybe you want to start a business. Maybe you want to get a promotion and you wonder, how am I going to do that? How am I going to get clients? How am I going to handle this? Don't worry about that yet, right? Don't worry about problems that do not exist yet. You haven't even started the business. Why are you worrying about how on earth you're going to get clients and how you're going to scale? So, of course, you stay stuck and overwhelmed because you're thinking about problems that don't need solutions right now. So, really reflecting on, where am I right now? If it's you want a promotion, do you believe you're worthy of that promotion? Is this something you truly desire? That's where you go, not how do I, negotiate a salary? How do I maintain the responsibilities? It's like, boo, you didn't even decide that you wanted to get that promotion, or
Yeah.
you didn't even step forward and say, I commit to investing in myself, my dream, and creating the business. But here you are worried about social media or worried about how to get clients or how to scale. It's like you haven't even decided and committed to investing in yourself. So look at where you are. Take one step at a time. When we look too far ahead, that's when it gets overwhelming. And that's why a lot of women stay stuck. So if you
Yeah.
feel like you're in that place of stuckness, you're probably looking a couple steps too far ahead, and just focus on the now of, you are safe now. What is it that I want now? And do I believe I'm worthy of that today?
I love it. Okay. I got two final questions. First question is, how are you going to make your workday more playful today?
How am I going to make my workday? My workday is always more playful. So
Yeah.
I start with little things like self-care, like my nails are 5 different colors. You probably can't
So,
see it for the folks of you that are just listening, but I try to incorporate it in every single thing I do. Uh, so it doesn't feel like a work day. It just feels like this is part of my life, and my life is joyful, it's abundant, it's fulfilling. That includes work. So my play doesn't end. It is an infinite game.
oh, that's right. And you are achingly beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. I love this moment. I love hearing all of these things that really apply to everyone who listens to this show, because if you're listening to this show, you like play. So get more curious with that play. Enjoy. I like making it a part of the day. It just is the day. It just is the day. Okay, Lani, if people want to find you, where can they find you?
They can Google me. It's super easy. It's Lani Gonzales, Lani, and Gonzales with an S. But even if you misspell it, it'll probably show up. So you can Google me. I have a website. I'm on social media. Just Google.
And you'll show up and we'll put it in the show notes. But I'm
Yeah.
so grateful. There was a lot of movement happening here today. Full circle on our merry-go-round. See what I did there? And I'm so grateful you came on the show. It was playful. It felt like play. And that's what this is all about. So thank you, Lani. Everybody go find Lani on the socials. Hang out with her. And it was so fun having this play date with you at the circus.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Okay, y'all. So that conversation, I could have talked to her for hours. How simpatico we are about play and joy and curiosity. So here is the playdate practice that I want to leave you with this week. So we didn't talk about networking specifically with Lani. We talked a lot more about just things that are fearful, like presenting in front of a group of executives or posting on social media. I want you to notice, first of all, the next time your nervous system feels like it's not safe. I want you to try something before you say a single word. You can take one breath, just like Lani mentioned. You can feel your feet on the floor. And I want you to remind yourself it's not a performance, it's a scene. And in improv, the only way to mess up a scene is to not play. And then I want you to go find a friend. Maybe it's somebody else who looks like they're freaking out. And I want you to say hi. That's it, with one breath, one person, one real moment. That is truly networking without feeling weird, my friends. So, and speaking of that, don't forget to grab our Networking Without Feeling Weird toolkit in the show notes. I want you to keep getting curious with that play this week and really put into conversation or put into practice. Maybe I could have a conversation. I don't know. Put into practice what Lani and I discussed in this conversation, because I'm taking away some tools. The Workday Playdate practitioner over here is practicing what she preaches and put and play into movement and motion right now. I want you to do the same. Okay. One breath and find play. That's all you got to do this week. I'll see you back here next week, y'all. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you for being the most incredible Peeps community, showing up every single week, giving to you. I see you. I love you. And I'll see you here for the next play date. Bye.